there's a guy out there named Gary Vaynerchuk who's very popular in the social media stuff. And he's, I look up to him. I've watched his stuff. I've watched less lately just because, I've heard a lot of his stuff. It's he's got so many great points, right? And sometimes, you hear the same thing over and over again, which isn't bad because he's getting his message out there. But one thing that he says is that, you shouldn't buy a primary residence. Now, as a mortgage owner of a company, like a CEO of a mortgage company, and as a originator, I've seen the wealth that's been created by owning a primary residence. And I've also seen documentaries where, in the past, there's been communities redlined out of home ownership and that they've suffered generationally for not owning a primary residence. And so the message that he puts out there saying, you shouldn't own a primary, you should maybe buy an investment property or blah, 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 as knowing what it takes to buy an investment property, which takes a large down payment, which most people are never going to have. The advice, I think, is bad advice, and I don't know, I don't blame him for that. But as a mentor, I think some people should listen to some alternative advice about that. And one thing that I believe, and one thing that's happened to me over years, is I've created my own wealth from, buying a primary residence, having that appreciate, and then buying another property and then renting out the house that I bought, because you can put only 5% down sometimes, or even less when you buy a primary. But when you buy an investment, you got to put 20 typically, or 25% down. Rarely can you do an investment property at say 90 or 85 LTV. But what would you say to someone like that out there that's telling millennials or telling people that, owning a primary residence is not wise?
Wow. Buying real estate is wise. Mm-hmm. Paying rent is not wise.
Right.
Getting the interest deduction is wise. And if you look at the long haul in the last 10, 15 years, look at what property values have done. Yeah. I think people that say that, they've lost something and they haven't gotten over it.
Right.
And so having a primary residence, buying a home, when the implosion happens, everyone's looking for the right time. So if you listen to those people that say don't buy a primary residence, then they say that you're not going to make money through it. But I believe there's three benefits of owning a primary residence. Number one, it's the American dream. You got to own a home. You got to have the white picket fence. You don't want to be
stroke a check every month somewhere to live.
I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I don't want to be moving every day.
Right.
And millennials as well. What if you can buy a home and rent the rooms out to a few friends? So my mentors, my billionaire mentors,
right,
the first thing they told me to do is get a primary residence. The second thing they told me to do is get more investment properties.
Absolutely.
And then repeat it over and over again.
Yeah.
Now, again, if you look at the people that lost money, if they made the right decisions and got in the right loans, look at their asset today.
Yeah.
It always comes back. There's more millionaires and billionaires created in real estate than any other industry. So
that's right.
I say go get a primary residence,
right,
buy your investment properties, and never limit yourself. I'm working on deals right now that are with a B, $1 billion deals, $168 million deals. And some of these $168 million or $1 billion deals are just as much work as the $100,000 deals. So
right,
in order to grow, you can't limit yourself and you can't be fear-based, but buy your primary residence for sure.
Definitely, man. I like that.
Especially
I'm glad
now.
you agree. Yeah, I'm glad you agree with that, because I think it's something that's being spread out there that's not true. And just the facts are, that if you look at a graph, even a 5-year-old could look at a graph and tell you, it's going up, from 50 years ago till today, the price of real estate has gone up. Like, there's no question if it goes up or not over time. So that's definitely something that I think people should look at.
Which tells you one last thing is that the individuals, the self-employed, the investment property owners, people in the jumbo position, if you look at it, we have so much equity right now.
Yep.
So much equity in the United States that's been untapped.
So much.
Go ask them if it was wise to keep their primary residence and not let it go.
Yeah.
On average, you're seeing 30-40% equity. Now go ask those same people. Look at their retirement account through bear and bull markets in the last 40 years and what it takes to actually get even in your money in the stock and in your retirement accounts.
Yeah.
Where you're going to create your retirement is real estate.
I mean, if you look at how much equity is untapped, like the other day I was driving through LA, I was driving through some of the nicer areas of Brentwood area, and I just saw house after house after house. I mean,